Hello everybody, I'm Lawrence and this is my mother Deborah, and this is a video about gifts for people with anxiety.
And most of these gifts are appropriate for kids and teens as well as for adults, by the way. So the first thing is an acupressure ring. And so these are really weird looking things.
Yeah, they made of little metal triangles that are somehow basically connected into a ring.
And so basically you roll the ring up and down your finger.
Actually, it's pretty nice.
And so part of it is just having something to do with your hands and also the acupressure, but it really does feel good. So you can get a pack of these. There are a lot of them you can get on Amazon. I'm sure you can get them on eBay too. There was one we tried, the last one we tried, that they weren't as good. So I think the main thing is make sure that the hole is small, because the second pack we got, the holes were really large, and so and we have large hands, so people with even smaller hands and fingers, like you barely feel the acupressure. So you want to make sure that the hole is really small in them, so that they actually have pressure in them. So those are a nice thing, because you can get them in a pack of like 6 or so, and
wait a minute. And continue.
And in multiple colors. So that's a really nice gift for someone. The next idea is a calendar or something else that the person can look at that takes them to their happy place. When you have anxiety, a lot of it is not just about the anxiety attacks, but really can go on like most of the time, the anxiety. And sometimes it helps for someone to have something to focus on. So an idea is to give them a calendar that has like a happy place. And so I know Lawrence he's going to make fun of me, and he's totally embarrassed.
I'm definitely judging you.
And okay, so this is not my art style, but I love these. I love these pictures that are just somewhere that you'd really want to be, and they're really pretty. And so that's mine. You know, obviously for other people, it's something else, but just something that can bring them to a place that's like their happy place or their calm place. So if you know enough about them, then you can think of something. So it could be a calendar, it could be a poster, anything like that, which is just a really small present, but something that...
January looked pretty sucky to be I mean, it's all snowed in. Rip.
I like snow.
No, I mean, that's to the point where you'd have to shovel it to get out the door.
No, because you look at it and you say they don't need to leave. They have everything they need.
Oh my god. Okay.
And they don't need to leave.
Whatever. Anyways.
You use your imagination. And another thing that's good that we've talked about a lot of times is a book by Kate Allan called You Can Do All Things. And it's affirmations and drawings of usually animals, and they're really quirky, but they're really good, non-saccharine, non-annoying.
What the hell is saccharine?
Saccharine means like overly sweet, like syrupy sweet, like it makes you want to gag sweet, or just like cliched or stupid or something. Yeah. And these are not. These are really, really great. And a lot of her animals also are kind of weird. They're like a combination of different things, or they're kind of strange. So it's really good for someone who, you know, maybe doesn't have a really good body image or doesn't feel comfortable in their own skin. And she also did a book that just came out recently. It's a prompts journal called "It's Your Weirdness That Makes You Wonderful." And so it's a journal, but it also helps with some ideas on what people can write about, and they're really actually this I hadn't seen before, self-soothing, which is really good for people with anxiety. It's really fantastic. It's kind of like self-therapy, but it's got some really great drawings too. As usual, she's got really good drawings.
Good artist.
Yeah, so this is actually really new. You can find it on Amazon. I think it was in Target. But she's done a really good. It's called a self-acceptance prompt journal. She's done a really, really nice job with this, and I think this is the kind of thing that if you give someone, it's actually going to make a difference in their life. Here's one section: replacing negative labels, which is really important. She says, for instance, some negative labels that have been applied to me throughout my life: lazy, cowardly, a burden, ungrateful, weird, ugly, mean. And she said, honestly, I internalized a lot of those labels. Wow.
People told me the same things, so
that's horrible. But then she talks about two major problems with internalizing negative labels, and then the prompt, for instance, is then she does a whole paragraph or two about it. But then it's like, what are negative labels that have been applied to you? And then there's space for the person to write about it, and then it leads you through dealing with that negative self-talk. So it's kind of like, it's really like therapy, but it's really awesome. Look at this. No self-hate. You're too cute for that. It's just fantastic. I mean, her stuff is really great. And then the next thing is a book called Kind of Coping, an illustrated look at life with anxiety. And so basically it's comics that this woman has done about living with anxiety, anxious bus thoughts. like anxious bus thoughts. Why doesn't a seat have a functional seatbelt? Is this even legal? Please don't sit by me.
I'm always scared of, will I fall asleep and miss my stop? Because constantly exhausted, so I wouldn't be surprised. I was coming back on...
How can I be sure I'm actually on the right bus? Yeah. Please don't sit by me. A pregnant lady, should I offer her my seat? But wait, what if she's just curvy and I insult her? So that's basically what's really good, especially if you don't suffer from anxiety.
Good.
If you don't suffer from anxiety, this is a great book to give someone, to show that you do understand what they're dealing with is something real, and that they're not alone. And because a lot of people with anxiety, just the same as a lot of people with depression, are told by other people, there's nothing really wrong with you, stuff like this. They'll totally be able to relate to it. This is actually a really thick, got a lot of comics in it. So that one's great. And another idea, and I can't find mine, is a coloring book. It's really calming for a lot of people with anxiety to do coloring, because it's just something that they can focus on. And it's really mindful, and I can't find any of mine, but
yeah, I mean, it's nice.
And there are adult coloring books. There aren't,
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to do. You can sit down and spend some time doing it.
Yeah,
and then you get a nice picture.
And small ones too.
Oh,
there are postcard size ones.
Another thing is, I mean, for me, it was Legos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to sit down and put it together, and then you get a cool thing at the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some of those things that it's just very mindful that you get into, And
that's how justified you buying me hundreds of dollars of Legos. Yes. Anyways.
Do you know who ended up putting a lot of them together? The Harry Potter castle, or Hogwarts. And we had more than one Harry Potter one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who would spend? Not that I minded. I really enjoyed it. But I usually would spend a couple days watching TV and putting it together. It was fun.
I like putting the ones that have like thousands of pieces together, because it just gives me something to do for like a couple hours.
Yeah. A couple hours?
Well, it doesn't take me that long.
So another thing that we had in our I think our first anxiety kid video was Crazy Aaron's thinking putty, but the smaller ones. Okay, so this is actually one of my favorite colors. I have a little one of it, and I can see it's going to take me. Sometimes what happens is they get really stuck to the side.
This is mine. It's the clear one. It's just called glass. Hold on. But after some use, it's
Yeah, but then
not quite glass.
Once you start
you
using it,
wash this.
It's very sticky. That the liquid glass is very sticky. Now this stuff, the thinking putty is
the color
is not like the.
It becomes like.
How did you get it so dirty?
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about the liquid glass. Just FYI, if you do get it for someone, it does look a lot better than that. Not yellow.
Just don't get the clear one, please. Don't get the clear one. Just get one of those.
That's the liquid glass.
Yeah, I know.
But also the liquid glass. The only thing is, I mean, it's really cool, but it does like little bits of it come off on your hands, which is kind of disconcerting.
I want some.
So this one is cool. This is the
get
super lava, and then on the back you can see it's got the different categories.
Oh, get me the hypercolors. Get me the hypercolors.
Glows, phantoms, illusions, hypercolors, magnetics, precious, and liquid glass.
Yeah, but FYI,
But anyway, the reason it's good for people with anxiety is it's calming. It gives you something to do with your hands, and it is calming. But this type of putty is used very often for people by therapists for kids with like anxiety and autism and stuff like that. So it's kind of mesmerizing after a while. It really is mesmerizing to use them, and it's especially good, especially if you're giving it to someone at Christmas. And this gives them something to this and the acupressure rings give them something to do with their hands when they're sitting around and everyone's talking and they're maybe getting a little anxious. Another thing that a fair amount of people with anxiety like to do is
don't mind me.
Just don't let it get on the tablecloth. Is write in journals, because anxiety can be kind of like a huge wave inside of you, and for a lot of people it feels good to just relieve that and let it out by writing in a journal, writing their feelings down, and it's just a relief to them for some reason. So one idea is to get them a really nice journal. There's one company called Flame Tree Notebook that has a lot of really nice notebooks. One thing I like is that it's got this magnetic thing that snaps. So one, for instance, these are ones I think my parents have given me. One has books all over it. There's Van Gogh. There's the Great Wave, the famous Japanese painting. So there's this one, for instance. Then there's one that's circuit board and electronic components and everything. So that's another idea, of something to get them. And this book is really just for kids. If you know a kid who has anxiety, it's supposed to call it A Little Spot of Anxiety, and talks to them a little bit about how to handle it and gives them a technique on how to help them calm down. And another thing that a lot of people seem to like is squishy animals, like soft things. So this one actually this is my neighbor Totoro, and it's vacuum packed in a bag now. So
why would you want to lay on like plastic like that?
So you can see through it. If you use it as a pillow, you'd use this side without the plastic. But
you borrow this.
But then it's like,
personally.
Okay, first of all, holding the pillow, and Totoro. I mean, comforting. Can I please?
No. I'm taking over this item.
So anyway, but inside it's got little Totoros in different colors.
Yeah. So this front portion is all the stuffed animals, and then there's stuffing underneath.
Okay, now this I don't.
What?
I don't know much about Totoro. I keep meaning to watch
I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched Spirited Away, but not.
But it's got little guys, and this is actually nice for someone with anxiety to have with them, because they can bring one of these with them, and it's really nice to have. Especially one that looks like Totoro, but just something to squeeze and to hold, and it's soft. And especially when someone has an anxiety attack, it's good for them to have sensory stuff to bring them back from the anxiety attack. So
just slip that boy back in.
Yeah. So that's a good, fun but still kind of useful present for them to have. And then there are two more things that we don't actually have.
Grip.
One is getting them, if you are in an area that has them, is a ticket to a sound bath or sound meditation. That's really, really good. We've both done two of those, and then I've done two others. And
I fell asleep during one. That's the only gripe I have.
Yeah, a lot of people
really
do.
Relaxing.
Yeah, it's really relaxing. She was joking about how many people,
people were bringing like sleeping masks.
Well, they tell you to, but it's basically, it's kind of hard to describe, isn't it?
Basically, there's a person. They play a bunch of weird like crystal bowls
generally,
and gongs.
The crystal bowls are the important component.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
So it can consist of other things, but and so they play those items, and it's done in a very soothing way. And I've been to two of them. The first one I was sitting up, which was really uncomfortable. So the second one I was laying down on a yoga mat,
there were no seats.
And I fell asleep a couple times. She can attest to that.
I was nudging him.
It was really nice.
And remember that was like an hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah.
And it totally doesn't seem like it, but it's really calming. One really good thing is that they can actually continue the sound meditation after the actual event that they go to. On SoundCloud especially, I found the woman who does the sound meditations that we've been to has one on there, but then there are a few other people who do them. And in fact, if there's no sound meditation around you, you can probably buy them the digital soundtrack. So obviously we'll put the links to that below. And the other thing that we didn't get, because you said you weren't interested in it.
Well, no, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so you
get me one.
Was a weighted blanket, which I swear he told me he didn't want.
I never said that.
Anyway, so a weighted blanket is what you may have heard of them before, but what they are basically is of 2 layers of fabric, and it has ball bearings in between. And apparently, for a lot of people, I mean, there's a theory that
wouldn't that just make a noise when you shake it?
They're packed tightly.
Oh,
yeah. One is that for some reason it makes people feel more secure to have the weight pressing down on them. And for another thing, there's a theory that for some reason the weight pressing on them releases endorphins. So
makes you feel like you're being hugged or something?
I guess, or releases endorphins or something. But, you can make one. I've looked at the prices and I've looked at how much work it is to make one. There are tutorials on YouTube and everything. You could really do it in an afternoon, but I mean, to be honest, after you buy the fabric and everything and the work,
I've accidentally merged them.
You might want to buy it, but if you want to get them one with a nicer fabric, especially one that maybe a fabric that matches, their decor or something, then that's definitely an option. Another idea is to get them some nice teas like peppermint teas or fruit teas, because sometimes after an anxiety attack, it helps for them to have something hot, the sensation of the heat, and then also like combine it with some peppermint. The strong taste of the peppermint can help ground them. And you can learn more about self-care after anxiety attacks at our video that I'll put a link to up there. So that might also give you some ideas on things to give them to help them with self-care after anxiety attacks. Anyway, so hopefully these ideas have been helpful. As I said, I'm going to put links to everything below. So, and then for other ideas, you might want to look at the videos we did about anxiety kits. There was some stuff that was DIY, but there's a lot of stuff. Now you will see some stuff we've covered here, but it also will give you some information, right, about people dealing with anxiety, trying to stave off an anxiety anxiety attack, and then what to do after an anxiety attack. So it might help you, come up with some ideas of your own, especially if it helps you understand the person a little better.
They've merged. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like. If you want to give any feedback or say anything nice,
Ask questions.
something like that, you can leave it in the form of a comment. And if you enjoyed the content and would like to see more of this produced, you can subscribe. In any case, we hope that you have a nice day. Yeah.
Take care.